Alright guys, tomorrow you have a test. We're going to start off with, make sure you know these vocabulary words and definitions. They're from the last two vocabulary assignments. So equation, variable, solution, coefficient, inverse operations, expression, like terms, and terms. Some of them, definitions may be matching. Some of them might be give me an example. So be sure that you know these words and the definitions. Be sure you know the definitions that I have given you. If you go back to your vocab assignment, you always have the assignment, and attached to that are the definitions that I gave you. A lot of you are still using your own definitions, and they're either not math definitions or they're not on grade level. So be sure that you are using the definitions I give you, because I very carefully make sure that they are appropriate for your grade level and our subject. Alright, so different parts that are going to be on your test tomorrow. This test review is optional to turn in to me. It is worth extra points on your test, and it is worth, but it has to be done. I won't accept it late. It's only due before the test. Alright. Solving one-step equations with work. A lot of you at home have not been practicing with work. Several of you have been just going online and searching answers. And I realize that being at home, you have that advantage. But I want you to know that you will be at a disadvantage, not only for the rest of this class, but also for high school math if you don't learn to do these properly. All right. So we have multiplication here. So the inverse multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. What I do to the left, I do to the right. So I'm going to write that. What I do to the left, I do to the right. All right. So these cancel, leaving me with just x. And I am okay with this staying as 14/3. It doesn't have to be any further than that unless you want to take it further. The next one, draw my line. My goal is to get my m by itself. I have plus a -2. The opposite of a -2 is to add 2. These cancel. 5 plus 2 is 7. Now in class, we've learned how to check these into a calculator. You are allowed to use a calculator for this test, but I do encourage you to definitely check them. If you have been in class and are now remote, the only way to check it is to really plug it in unless you have some kind of calculator. All right, so we see divided by -3. The opposite of division is to multiply. Our inverse of division is multiplication. Cancel, leave me -21. You'll notice that the proper way to solve it is to draw a line, show on both sides of the equation what is happening, and then your answer. So let's move on to two-step equations. All right, we want to get r by itself. That's our goal. We have a 2 with it and a plus 5. The opposite of adding 5 is to subtract 5 from both sides, leaving me with just 2r and -10 on this side, because -5 minus 5. My goal is still to get r by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. -10 divided by 2 is -5. It's called two-step because there's one step and there's two steps. Draw a line. My goal is to get d by itself. It's not always going to be on the left. I just happen to put them all on the left. So we have -4. The opposite of that is to add 4. I always take care of my addition and my subtraction first. 5 plus 4 is 9. Whew. Divide both sides by 3. d equals 3. All right, let's look at the last two-step one. My goal is to get f by itself. I have a plus a -4, so the opposite of that is to subtract the -4, which is the same as +4. The opposite of -4 is a +4. This leaves me with 3f, and this leaves me with -9, because it's a -13 plus 4. Divide both sides by 3. Ooh, sorry. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. And that's my two-step equations. All right, combining like terms. So some vocabulary words here. Terms are actually each of these. So 2c is a term, 5 is a term, 6c is a term, negative 7 is a term, 3 is a term, and c is a term. So in this equation right here, I have 6 terms. All right, I'm going to combine the ones that are alike. And we talked about this in earlier journal video. Alike has to have the same variable and the same exponent. So I don't have any exponents here, but I have a 2c, a 6c plus 6c, and plus c. So 2c plus 6c is 8c, plus a 1c is 9c. And I have a plus 5, a minus 7, and a plus 3. These all are just numbers by themselves. It doesn't matter if they are decimals, fractions, negatives, positives. It doesn't matter. They're all just numbers. Okay, they don't have a variable with it. So 5 plus negative 7 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1, positive 1. So that's like term. Now, if you have one of these and you're like, ooh, I don't remember how to do that, or I need extra practice, I encourage you to go look in your journal, and that'll kind of give you some more. So let's look. We have 4x. Now we have an x squared, but that is not the same because it has an exponent of 2. We have a minus 6x, and we have a plus 2x. So 4x minus 6x is negative 2x plus 2x. So I have 4 minus 6 is negative 2 plus 2. So I have 0x. If you want to put 0x, that's okay, but it means the same as just 0. Then we have plus 2x squared plus 3x squared. So plus 5x squared. So really, the answer to this is just 5x squared, because all of my other x's canceled. All right, let's look at this one. So we have several variables here. The variables are the letters. The coefficients are that number in front of. So the coefficient of this one is 2. So we have 2xy. Do I have any more xy's? I have a minus 6xy. Always bring your sign with it. And I'll zoom in on that because I know, especially if you're watching on your phone, I know it gets a little hard sometimes to see it when the numbers aren't bigger. Sorry about that. So 2xy minus 6xy is negative 4xy. Then I have plus 4x minus 3x. Now that has a y with it, so I'm not going to mess with it. 4x minus 3x is just a positive 1x. And then I don't have anything to combine with this y, so I'm going to just leave it as it is, plus 4y. Combining like terms. All right, and then we have a little bit distributing. So distributing, this means multiplication right here, that parentheses. So I'm going to give my 2, and I'm going to multiply it times my 3x, which is 6x. Bring down that minus. 2 times 4 is 8. Slide over. Negative 2 times negative 4m is 8m. Bring down my plus. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 7 times 2r is negative 14r. I have said if I see a negative and a subtraction, I'm going to go ahead and add a line change this line. You don't have to, but it does kind of help prevent some errors there. So negative 7 times negative 4, bring down that plus, is 28. So that is our distributing. Again, all of this is from your journal. Not these exact problems, but definitely problems very similar to it. All right, and then the last part is multi-step equations. And by multi-step, I know that it's going to take multiple steps. So the first question I always ask myself is, are there parentheses? In this one, there are. So I'm going to do 3 times 2h, which is 6h, plus 3 times 1, which is 3. Bring down my negative 9. Now it's just a two-step. Subtract 3 from both sides. These we have 6h and negative 12. Divide both sides by 6. And h equals negative 2. That is a multi-step problem. Let's look at another multi-step problem. Do I have parentheses? No. But do I have multiple variables on one side? Yes. 2m plus 5m is 7m minus 4. Add 4 to both sides. Divide both sides by 7. M equals 2. All right, next one. Do I have parentheses? Yes, I always start with the parentheses first. Negative 1t plus negative 5. I didn't get to use that plus 2t, so I'm going to bring it down. I don't have parentheses anymore, but I do have multiple t's on one side. So negative 1 plus 2t is just 1t plus a negative 5. Opposite of a negative 5 is a positive 5. And 1t is the same as just a t. And I get 3. Alright, so our last two problems are still multi-step, but with variables on both sides we see. And so it doesn't matter which way we move our p. I like to remove my smaller p because it keeps things positive for me. And I definitely like keeping things positive. So bring down my 3. 5 minus 2 is 3p minus 12. Add 12 to both sides. My goal is to get p by itself. So I'm taking care of anything that is with my p. Divide both sides by 3. P equals 5. Oops, sorry, went off the screen there. And our last problem. Do I have parentheses? No. Do I have multiple p's on one side? I do. I have 2d plus 4d. So I need to take care of that first. 6d minus 6, 9d. Move my 6d. Negative 6. This leaves me 3d. Divide both sides by 3 so I can get that d all by its lonely to get negative 2. Alright. I encourage you to answer any question, send me any questions that you might have. You only have tomorrow to take the test. If you want to turn in the review sheet, I need it done with a picture form so that I can see that you actually showed your work on it. You will find that you need to start sending more pictures with your work so that I can see that you are understanding, because I have a lot of you who are not understanding. We still have about a week and a half left in the 6 weeks. Left until your progress reports. This will be your only test on it, so please be sure you're taking care of it. This review sheet will get you extra credit. Also, you had homework last week, and a lot of you have not turned it in to me, including last Thursday's notes, which is also needs to be done in picture form. I believe I have a lot of you who still owe me that. It's a free 100. All you had to do was copy down the notes. All right. If you have any questions, send them to me.